Howdy folks, today I went to a Japanese market here in San Diego and I thought I'd show you some of the stuff I got because it illustrates some low-carb items that you can actually get at a Japanese market and some things that you might want to get if you're low-carbing and if you have a Japanese or other Asian market in your area. I'm not going to show you everything I got because, some of it would kind of waste your time, like, wow, I got this yellow onion at the Japanese market. How exotic is that? But I am going to show you some things. For example, this here is Ponzu, and Ponzu is a kind of, it's a flavor that's used in Japanese cooking. It's a kind of citrusy vinegar, basically. And this particular kind of Ponzu illustrates a principle that I use when I am shopping. I read the labels and I compare similar products, they're all basically the same thing, but I compare them looking at the amount of carbohydrates they've got. This kind of ponzu has no carbs per serving, but there were other kinds of ponzu on the shelf right around it, and they had sugar added in some form, and so they had more than the zero carbs. So it always pays, even if you think a product is low carb, to look around at whatever's available in the store to find the lowest carb version. So that's ponzu. This is bonito flakes, and bonito is tuna, is a kind of tuna, and so this is kind of shredded dried tuna, and it's used in a variety of ways in Japanese cooking. One of the ways it's used is as an ingredient of dashi, and dashi is a fundamental flavor in Japanese cooking. It's a fundamental flavoring. It's a kind of soup stock that is made using bonito flakes and kelp. And if you can't find dashi in your area, but you want to use the same flavors, or at least similar ones, you might try something like fish sauce, which can also be no carb, mixed with kelp flakes. And I've been using that up to now, but now that I've got some actual dashi, I'm looking forward to using that. Now, one of the things that is often the case with dashi is that it's made with the deadly Ajinomoto, or monosodium glutamate, MSG. And there apparently is no MSG dashi, but it ain't this. You might think from the name dashi no moto that it would be dashi without Ajinomoto, without MSG, but it's not. No in Japanese is actually it's what's known as a postposition. In English we have prepositions, which are little modifier words that tell you something about the relationship of other terms, and we put them in front of nouns, which is why they're called prepositions or prepositions. In Japanese they have postpositions. They put the same kind of little function word after the noun, and no is a postposition in Japanese that means of. It is not the, or at least it often means of, it is not the same as the English no. So those are some things to be aware of. Now, if you've seen some of my other low-carb videos, you'll know that I often use tofu shirataki noodles, and these are produced by House Foods. These are extremely low in carb. This whole package has 2 grams of digestible carb. Now, the reason these are called tofu shirataki noodles is because they're made with both tofu, which is made from soybeans, and shirataki, which is a kind of yam. And the root of the yam root is extremely high in fiber and extremely low in carbs. However, there are actual shirataki noodles that are nothing but the shirataki, and here's an example of that. These, it's probably a little hard to see, but these are noodles that are made purely out of the yam flour, out of the shirataki flour, and you can tell they've got a bit of a different color. I suspect the tofu that's used in this is used in part to make it appear more like wheat noodles, which is what Americans are used to eating. These are more pure white, and the texture's a little bit different, but anyway, I wanted you to be aware of that. Now, noodles are only one form that you find shirataki in. You can also, for example, find shirataki in dumpling form, and these are shirataki dumplings. You also can find it in cake form, and this is a shirataki cake. So you'd cut this up and presumably and use it in recipes in different ways. There's also more than one variety of shirataki. I've been showing you white ones up to now, but this is shirataki noodles. These are noodles just like the other ones, but they've been flavored with seaweed. And so they have a different color, and I'm going to find out what kind of taste they have. And there are other forms of shirataki that have been flavored and colored with other things as well. So you'll see several different varieties at the store. Now, speaking of seaweed, one of the seaweed applications that Americans are most aware of in terms of Japanese cooking is this. This is called nori, and it's basically sheets of dried seaweed. It's what you use to make sushi rolls, like or sushi cones, like the one illustrated here. I already had this one, which is why it's open. But I wanted to show it to you because it's what we're familiar with, but it's not the only kind of seaweed that you're going to find. For example, this is wakame seaweed, and it's dried, but you use this kind of seaweed to make salads and to make soup. You don't use it dried, though. You rehydrate it first. And it's a very common ingredient in salads and soups. In fact, you can get some pre-made soup packages. These are just instant soup packages that are made with seaweed, and they're not all low carb. Not all of the soups you'll find in a Japanese store are low carb, but if you read the packages, you'll be able to find ones that are. Then let's see, we have this here. I thought I'd show you. This is a kind of seaweed salad using yet other different kinds of seaweed. And so just be aware that there are a variety of different kinds of seaweed. It's not all the same, and you may need to specify what kind of seaweed you're looking for if you're asking a clerk for help. Now, I have one last thing I thought I'd show you. This is Agar-agar, and it is a substance that is used to make the Asian equivalent of Jello. It's used in different cultures around Asia, and it is also extremely low carb. And so, if you're looking for a good way to make low carb gelatinous substances, or gelatinous dishes, this is very good to use. It comes in more than one form. Here it's coming in a kind of brick, I guess you'd say. It's very lightweight. And what you do is you break off about a fifth of one of these and boil it in water to make your Jello, and then you could add low carb sweeteners, for example, to it, and colors and things like that. It does come in other forms, though. For example, these are agar-agar sheets. And I hadn't encountered these before. I'm going to be interested in trying them out and seeing what I can do with them. I may be able, I don't know, I might even be able to use them for wrappers. We'll have to see. In any event, I'd encourage you, if you have a Japanese or other Asian market in your area, to visit it and spend some time looking around the shelves, reading labels. Oftentimes, even if a particular item is labeled in Japanese, they'll have an English language label on it as well, sometimes just pasted on as part of the importing process. And you'll be surprised at some of the wondrous and strange things that you will find and that are actually low carb. Here we've seen a number of examples between the seaweed and the agar-agar and the shirataki, and there are just a number of things that you'll be able to find to add extra variety and international flavor to your low carb diet. Bon appetit!